rich people really do think differently than the middle class or poor. Now, I had no idea about this until I read this book many, many years ago called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind: Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth by Harv Eker. Now, when I first read this book, I was a single mom. I was a full-time teacher. I had 2 young children. And what I did know was I was working very hard at being a teacher and a mom and very busy, I'm sure like many of you. But what I knew is that I didn't know anything about wealth building, investing, or money, but I knew that I could learn. And so this was one of the first books that I read. And recently I was introduced, or I was asked to be a member of a book club. And the book club was reading this book. And so I said, yes, of course, because I read this so many years ago before I knew anything about wealth building. And as I'm rereading it, it's been so much fun to think about how so many years ago, when I didn't know anything about wealth building and financial mindset, those things that I took to heart, those things that I really embraced, those concepts, and how they truly changed my life. And if I wasn't rereading this book, I wouldn't have that recollection. And this recollection is so important because now I get to share these things with you. And that's what I ask God, Spirit, Universe all the time is please let me be able to share important concepts that will help others to have a good financial mindset, to be able to live in faith instead of fear, to be able to manifest whatever it is that they want. So these concepts helped me as a single mom, as a teacher, working really hard. I still had college debt. I still didn't have anything saved. I didn't have any investments yet. I was just beginning and I read this book. And now looking back all these years later, now, yes, I know I have a millionaire mindset because I've been able to do what I set out to do, which was to become a multimillionaire. And some of these principles were so important along the way. So last week, I shared a couple of them very briefly. The first one was that you create your own reality. That's the way rich people look at life or wealthy people. They know that they create their own reality instead of the opposite. And then the other principle was the Huna principle of always blessing those people that have more than you. Someone has something that you really want. Instead of being critical or judgmental or being jealous, just bless them. So, those are 2 principles that definitely help to influence the way I think about money and my life and help to elevate my mindset. Now, today I have 2 more principles that have been so important now as I look back over the years, the decades, and I think, wow, I used to think this way. I embrace these concepts, and now I have a totally different way of thinking, and it has impacted my financial wealth. So I would love to share 2 more concepts with you today. The first one is, oh, so much fun. I was teaching at the time when I first read this, and this wealth file or wealth principle that Harv Eker talks about, this is number 12. And he says, rich people think both. And I thought, when I read that, it's like, what is he talking about? But he says, no, poor people think that it's either or. I can have this or that. But rich people think, no, it's not this or that. It's that I can have both. Or how can I have both? And so I embraced that word. And I remember telling my teacher friends in meetings and when opportunities would come up, I would say, the word both is my favorite word. Like I totally embraced it. And I looked for opportunities where I could say, oh, I choose both. I'm not going to choose either or because that's coming from a lack mindset. In fact, he writes, rich people live in a world of abundance. Poor people live in a world of limitations. I can either go to dinner or go see a movie. Wealthy people think I can go to dinner and I can go see the movie. Does that make sense? And so that was such a just a mindset shift for me. And the way he talks about it is this. He says, rich people believe you can have your cake and eat it too. Middle class people believe cake is too rich, so I'll only have a little piece. Poor people don't believe they deserve cake, so they order a donut, focus on the whole, and wonder why they have nothing. So he definitely brings some humor into this. But think about it in your life. Where are some areas that you are thinking, I can have this or I can have that? And switch that thinking into, how can I have both? And open yourself up to that thinking of the both mentality, which is an abundant mentality. He says, declare, place your hand on your heart and say, I always think both. And that's something that so many, many years ago that I did that definitely has changed the way I think. The other wealth file or wealth principle that I want to share with you today is that rich people focus on net worth, poor people focus on their working income. So he's talking about a very important concept. And later on, when I became a financial advisor, I talk to people all the time about it's all about increasing your net worth because that's the way that wealthy people think. And it's so important. Middle class or poor people think in the terms of income. So when they're having conversations, talking with other people, they're talking about how much do you make? How much do you make an hour? How much do you make as an annual salary, perhaps? So that's different than how wealthy people think. Wealthy people think in terms of net worth. So, what's net worth? Net worth is the amount of assets that you have minus your debt or what you owe, right? So, it's the accumulation of what you have, your assets, minus any liabilities. So, that number is what you should be focused on more so than how much do I make an hour? How much do I have in the bank? Focusing in on your net worth. So if this is new to you, please figure out that number. What is my net worth? And then set some goals and figure out how you can increase your net worth. And I don't want to miss anything out of this book to share with you. He says, the true measure of wealth is net worth, not working income. And then he says, net worth is the ultimate measure of wealth because if necessary, what you own can eventually be liquidated into cash. So always thinking about your net worth primarily and then staying out of debt, of course, which helps that. And then being focused on how can I improve? How can I raise my net worth? Whether it's investing in property or getting out of debt, whatever that is. And if you would love more information about that, I would be more than happy to share. I spent years as a financial advisor teaching people how to build a strong financial house. And I am all about sharing that information if it's something that is wanted out there. I'd be more than happy to do that. Like I said, I spent years doing that as a financial advisor, and I know it was meaningful and important work, but that's part of it. That's like the left brain work. We also need to have that mindset where I need to know what to do with my money, but I also need to have this mindset of abundance and knowing that I can manifest whatever it is that I desire. So I also love the right brain side of it where manifesting is something that we can all do. And of course, I've set the steps up in my book, Allow Life to Happen and Receive Everything You Desire, so that everyone has access to that. But the bottom line is, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, kind of thinking out loud today, it really is about energy and it's about vibration. No matter what it is that you're doing, when we want to manifest our heart's desires, when we want to increase our net worth, when we want to buy a house, buy a car, whatever it is, we must increase our vibration. That's it. We have to increase our vibration to the level of the thing that we want to manifest. And so these principles, as I'm looking back now and reading these Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and looking at these wealth principles, I'm looking at the ways that I improved and adjusted my own mindset to have a millionaire mind, to think like a millionaire. And so you don't have to be a millionaire to start doing this today. You can start thinking of the principle of both. You can start looking at how can I look for opportunities to say and use the word both instead of can I have this or that? You can start today in elevating your mindset. You can start today by blessing people that have more than you. You can start today by owning that you create your reality. And you can start today to focus in on your net worth. You can figure out what it is, and then you can come up with a plan. You can ask questions here. It's, well, how do I increase my net worth? It's not about always saving more. If you have debt, you want to get out of debt. That will help increase your net worth. So if you have questions, please ask. I can't wait to hear from you. And again, I'm just so thrilled to that I was asked to be a part of this book club. So I reread this book so that I remembered how much my thinking, my mindset changed to be someone who is financially independent. Like it didn't happen overnight. I had to change my mind, my mindset, and how I think about money and wealth. So if you want to hear more, please continue to comment. I do check the comments. If this resonates with you, please subscribe, and I can't wait to talk to you more. All right, take care. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you real soon.